All right, one more time with permit required confined spaces. This time, we're going to talk about pre-entry checklist. They talked about this in the previous one on the entry into the sewer system. So this is a confined space pre-entry checklist. This is Appendix D of the standard here. Again, it's non-mandatory, so we're going to go through this pretty quick. Just give you an idea of what they're looking for when they talk about this. So there you go. It's date, time issue, date, time expires, job space, ID, whatever, job supervisor, equipment to be worked on, work to be performed, standby personnel. And I'm not sure what I mean by standby personnel. I don't remember saying that in the standard, but usually standby personnel part of like a rescue team when you have to wear a SCBA, you have somebody standing by that SCBA in case you can't get out. But atmospheric checks, the time of it, oxygen percent, explosive or FLL, toxic ppm, assess your signature. Of course, that's just one test. It could be many more. There should be ongoing testing too. But source isolation, no entry, pumps or lines blinded, disconnected or blocked. Again, it's just a checklist to go through. The ventification, modification, mechanical or natural ventilation only. You check which ones you're going to do here. Atmospheric check after isolation and ventilation. Good. Same thing, except now they got the what they're looking for. Oxygen, 19.5%, LFL, less than 10%, and toxic, less than 10 parts per million of H2S. Time, the tester's signature. Communication procedures. How are we going to communicate with each other during this entry? How's the entrant going to communicate with the attendant? Rescue procedures. If something goes wrong, what are we going to do? Who are we going to call? How are we going to get these people out, this person out, whatever? That all has to be taken care of, thought out about ahead of time. Entry, standby, and backup person. Do we need to have those? Have they also successfully completed the required training? And is it current? Equipment, direct gas reading gas monitor. Was it tested? I think they mean calibrated. Safety harness and lifelines for entry and standby persons. Hoisting equipment. Now, they didn't say much about the hoisting the sewer thing. But remember, if it's more than 5 feet of vertical change, you got to have a mechanical equipment, a hoist. Powered communications, SCBAs for entry and standby persons, protective clothing, all electric equipment listed Class 1, Division 1, Group D, and non-sparking tools. So all that stuff, it's a good idea to do this type of thing. Have a checklist and make sure all that stuff is what they have there. And then we have reviewed the work authorized by this permit and the information contained herein. Written instructions and safety procedures have been received and are understood. Entry cannot be approved if any squares are marked with no column. This permit is not valid unless all appropriate items are completed. And who prepared this permit? Approved by somebody. And this by C's operation personnel. I don't know what that is. This permit to be kept in job site, return job site to copy the safety office for following job completion. So they got a copy, so white is the original to the safety office, yellow unit supervisor, and hard copy to the job site. So I guess this is a 3-part form they have done, which is not a bad idea. Entry permit valid for 8 hours only. All copies of permit will remain at job site until job is completed. So here they're telling you it's for 8 hours. Site location description, purpose of entry, why we're going to go in here. Supervisor in charge of the crews, type of crew, phone number, communication procedures, rescue procedures, phone numbers at the bottom. Bold denotes minimum requirements to be completed and reviewed prior to entry. So again, you got this is on the permit now. So the other was a checklist. Requirements completed, lockout, de-energized, tryout. Is that done? Is it locked out or something needed? Or it could be NA, might not be anything that needs to be locked out. Lines broken, capped or blanked. Any lines coming in, they cap them or blank and put a blank in there to keep anything from coming in, usually an atmosphere or a liquid. Or purge, flush, and vent if needed be. You need to purge something frequently with an inert gas, or just in this case, ventilation probably. Secure area, post and flag, breathing apparatus. Oops. All right, what for? Resuscitator, inhalator, standby safety personnel, full body harness with a D ring, emergency escape retrieval equipment, lifelines, fire extinguishers, lighting, explosive proof, all the stuff they're putting on this entry permit, protective clothing, air purifying respirators, burning and welding permit if need be. No, I do not apply, enter NA in the blank. Okay, makes sense. Record continuous monitoring results every 2 hours. Continuous monitoring, permissible, yes or no, I guess that means. Test to be taken, entry level, percent of oxygen, 19.5 to 23.5. So I don't know if it'd be above 9.5, I would wonder why. What caused that? LFL under 10%. In other words, you're testing, it should be under 10% of the lower flammable limit of whatever it is you're testing for. Carbon monoxide plus 35 parts per million. Aromatic hydrocarbon plus 1 parts per million to 5 parts per million. Hydrogen cyanide, skin, 4 parts per million. So they're going to monitor for all this stuff. Hydrogen sulfide, 10 to 15 parts per million. Sulfur dioxide, 2 to 5 parts per million. Ammonia, 35 parts per million. Oh, these are short-term exposure limits. Employee can work in the area up to 15 minutes. And then, though the plus is the 8-hour time weighted average. I see in here, employee can work in the area is 8 hours longer with appropriate respiratory protection. I know 35 parts per million of ammonia is you wouldn't do any damage, I don't think, but you would be uncomfortable. You wouldn't want to be in there unless you worked it around it a lot. And you have build up some resistance to it. But gas test check, name and check number, instruments used, model or type, serial number, and or unit number of the testers they're using. Safety standby person is required for all confined space work. And who are they? Their check number, I guess that means that their employee number. Confined space entrance, check number. So the entrants are going to be on this too. Supervisor authoring all conditions satisfied, department phone. And there's the ambulance phone number, fire phone number, safety phone number, gas coordinator phone number. So the supervisor, remember, who signs the entry permit for permit required confined space? The entry supervisor, the only person who can do that. So that was just a real bare bones kind of approach, but that's part of this appendix to the standard, just to give you an idea what they're looking for. I thought it was pretty lame, to be honest with you, but just again, just give you an idea that what the type of things that they're looking for on that. So, all right, I think we've done enough videos on permit required confined space. So that's it for now. Be safe.